So Analise is from the band Anabot, where she plays Anabot the robot.
That is true. True.
Where do we track back Anabot's origin?
Well, I came up with the idea. It just kind of didn't even start as an actual story. It just started as like, I'm an analog robot because I'm working all the time. I've got all these jobs and I'm doing music. And then just translated into this alter ego where I was constantly working and became this whole other creature who could travel through time and get things done. And I added this whole other narrative to her, so.
So when you say alter ego, is it a thing where you were doing like the Bruce Wayne thing where it's like Analise by day, Anabot by night?
A little bit. I think it's something I channel more in like the videos. It's kind of fun to explore that way. Like on stage, as much as I've tried to be robotic, it's really hard to give a great performance that's really kind of passionate and present if you're, just kind of looking at people like this.
And you've had a number of performances already where you've put on really great shows. You played Brochella recently. Mm-hmm. You're in the midst right now of a savage, just intense battle of the bands, Universal City Walk.
Yeah.
What's that like? What's it like bringing the music aspect for this robot alter ego in front of like a live crowd?
I think what makes it fun is I can kind of play the like mad scientist-y kind of aspects. The idea of Anabot is that she is a robot who is rooted in humanity but has been denied those characteristics and is slowly relearning them. So it's like a little bit of stiffness and kind of looking at people in a cold way, but then also kind of having these outbursts. So there are times when I try to kind of keep cool and calm and then just kind of go crazy, which is fun to play around with.
And is that when you go crazy, is that what we're seeing sort of on the stage when the music hits?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's like a more responsible, like Victor Frankenstein.
Yeah,
thing.
You could say it's more controlled, but really that's more on my part. I don't want it to seem controlled. I want it to seem just like, okay, I'm playing it cool and calm, and then now, what is happening? Cannot compute. Cannot compute.
And Anabot's more than just you. It's an entire band.
It's an entire band.
So
yes.
who do we got? Who do we got in the lineup on the band? Who do we see when we see you on stage playing?
So what's really cool is that like a lot of the music that I write is in a very typical pop form. We've got like the keyboards and I have like pads and stuff, but then I get to translate it live and I have a much different dynamic there because I have horns. So I have Sarah Bowes on the trumpet and Noel Fabian on the tenor saxophone. I have Luke Duffy on the guitar. Ryan Caven on bass, and Austin Farmer on drums. And Austin has been, in many ways, I call him my partner in crime because he produced my last album, he engineered it, recorded it, everything, and he kind of keeps me in check. So whenever I start to go crazy, because when you're writing, you kind of go off the rails and think, oh, what if I did this thing? And he's like, you can't do that. Like, let's just like reel it in a little bit.
So he's keeping the tunnel vision in terms of like making sure you get done.
Because I'm the kind of person that will just have an outburst, not in a bad way, but I'll just like, what if we did this? And then I like after I say it, I realize that it's a terrible idea, but I might be too proud to realize it until he kind of gently says, well, we'll try it, but maybe we could try it a different way next time.
Does he do it in that voice?
A little bit. Like, I see it on his face mostly. Like, I know immediately when I have a bad idea, because Austin can't hide it, but he's kind enough to let me try it anyway, which I appreciate, so.
Cool, and how long has the current lineup of the band been together now?
I mean, gosh, the current lineup is very, very new, because we just added the horns in. Sarah did on trumpet. She played with us a couple years back, but she's in a mariachi band that was touring a lot, which is a really great musician. And now
the horns sound amazing if you get the chance to hear her live. They go hard, and I've seen it a few times now, and it's whenever they hit, you see them, and it's still like it hits you like, oh my god.
Well, because I think the rest of the band is kind of this more cool 60s jazzy vibe, but when they come in, it sets everything on fire. And no one it's like no one can possibly prepare for it. So when people are coming up and congratulating me when we were winning, different phases of Battle of the Bands, it was exciting and I felt really proud. But I was like, dude, it's all it's all my band. Like, I'm just backed up by like the greatest musicians who happen to be the kindest and hardest working people and really awesome people to hang with, and I just feel super lucky. It only took me, like, people talk about marriage this way, like, they're like, oh, it only took me 30 years, but I found the one. Like, I've been in band since I was 15 years old, and now I found, like, a great group of people that I'm really proud to work with, so.
So is that kind of, like, a hard thing to sort of, like, get together, like, as a musician in a band? Like,
oh, yeah. I mean, because I can safely say, like, 99% of the people I've worked with have been either really cool or really talented or like really hardworking, but like getting the three in the same person is difficult because a lot of musicians, you know, when you have that creative mind, it doesn't always go hand in hand with like the rehearsing business savvy person. You know, they just kind of want to jam, they just want to have a good time and like drink and hang out, which I like to do too.
right.
But when you have a group of people that you could have that, you know, two-minded person who can do the both of those things, it's like it's a gift. Because then you can conquer anything if you can be creative and then also reel it in and be like, all right, let's talk about like what we're doing and where we're going.
Nice.
And yeah.
So that's cool. And then I mean, you've also, because you have a YouTube channel, you're on YouTube, and you also do stuff on there that's also just sort of like you a lot of the time, which I know that we in the studio we're listening to beforehand, where you did like the Monday covers for like the Guardian soundtrack.
Yeah.
And so what spurred on that idea? Like why do the Guardians thing, and what made you want to do like covers on like as a series?
Well, I was just doing regular covers for a while and just kind of covering whatever I wanted, and I it was fun, but I didn't really find it very inspiring because it just kind of felt like something anybody was doing. Like, you can look it up on YouTube and you can find any set of covers to these songs. And I have such a strong love for not just cinema, but also, you know, I'm this growing, I don't know, okay, I'll admit, I'm a noob when it comes to comics, but I'm starting to love it and really grow a strong appreciation for it. And I had such an affinity for Guardians of the Galaxy and the kind of humor it had. It felt very Star Warsian to me in many ways. And the soundtrack was one of the most kick-ass, cohesive soundtracks I had heard in a long time. Yeah. Just like great hits from the 60s and 70s. And I thought, you know, if there's any way for me to cover and like do something that kind of mixes my love for all of these different things, it's going to be this.
Cool. And you've also taken that, I feel like, that mentality even into your own, like, you're filming a music video right now, and being on set for one of the days and seeing some of the shots, I see you guys went in with a very clear vision of what you guys want on that. Can you talk a little bit about how you go into a music video, and what are you like communicating with your director in this case, which is Evan Kerna, Annie Wilkes? So what are you telling them when you're saying like I want to do an Anabot music video? What's the dialogue there? What are we getting?
Well, I sat down with them and I told them, because there is this Anabot narrative that I've written out, and I wrote it out and I lost it. So now it's just all in my memory. So I have to at some point sit down and write it all out again. But I sat with them and I said, listen, this is her story, and I would like to make, because she's a robot assassin, I'd like to make different videos that kind of tell different parts of that narrative. It doesn't have to be in order necessarily, but you know, let me tell you what the story is, and if you I would turn to Evan and Annie and I said, if there's a part of the story that grabs you more than another part, let's tell that. And for them, it was kind of the moment where Anabot starts to have human feelings again. And that's what we're conveying in this. And they use some of the elements of the song, which has kind of a James Bondy feel. It sounds very Western. Yeah. And so we kind of found a way to mix all of that together in terms of the aesthetic of the video. So,
cool. And you're in the midst of, I mean, we caught you at a really integral part of that shoot, because you're still making that right now.
Yeah, no, we are. We filmed a good chunk of it about a month ago. We're filming another scene tomorrow, which I'm really excited about, just because I get to drive around in a vintage car around Malibu and Mulholland, and
who doesn't want to do that?
Who doesn't want to do that? So that's kind of like a dream come true. So I'm gonna be doing that, and that's on Sunday, and then we're filming more in October. So it's nice to kind of space it out. The last video I did was really fun, but we did it all in the course of 48 hours, and
Wow,
It
that's
was a lot.
Having done a few 48-hour films, that's extremely exhausting, and I can't even imagine doing that and then having to also, in your case, perform and sing and play.
The good thing was for that video there wasn't a lot. It was the video for Come Home With Me, and it was more fun and hip, and it was more traveling through time, but via actual films we were referencing. So it wasn't really serious or anything. It wasn't actually it wasn't very narrative based, but it was. It was sound like such a girl thing to say, but the toughest part of it was I had to sit in makeup for like 10 hours a day because I was doing a 40s look and a 60s look and a 50s look and an 80s look, and just sitting there, and like you'd have to like brush out my hair, and it was like 90 degrees and like no AC, and that was the hardest part, but the rest was fun.
So it's doing the Jim Carrey like Grinch thing, is sitting in the chair, and
just it's a lot of hurry up and wait, a lot of just like
disguise, giving the robot makeover after makeover and after makeover. Your last album you put out, you can listen to it online. You're working on another one?
Yeah, I just started talking to my drummer again about it. We're gonna do a full-length LP.
Oh, cool.
And so, a lot of the music hasn't even been written yet. I have a few songs that I want to work on, but the idea is that we want to write songs, or at least like write a lot of parts together. Now we have the horns, rather than me, just say, hey, fill in parts to this. We want to jam and kind of come up with different kinds of things and create a real like strong pop record that is just kind of all over the place. So I'm really excited about it. Probably we'll start recording next year, because right now we're just like kind of busy with performances, and
on YouTube you're under Anabot Music.
Anabot Music.
We've got you on SoundCloud. You can look up Anabot and Bandcamp.
Anabot.bandcamp.com.
Anabot.bandcamp.com.
Yes.
Anabot.bandcamp.com.